Hello, Master Githuyu. It's Monday, June 6th. This is Africa 54.
A southwestern Nigeria church hit by an explosion and gunfire Sunday, killing at least 21, according to new figures. Who was behind this? Electrification doesn't stop with cars. A Dutch company in Kenya is outfitting fishermen on Lake Victoria with electric boat motors to save on fuel costs. The UN's International Labor Organization is bringing dead buildings back to life in Zimbabwe, a move informal traders say will help them earn a living. All this and much more on today's Africa 54.
Well, our big story today is on the tragedy that took place yesterday in Nigeria, where authorities have also declared 7 days of national mourning for the victims of a church attack on Sunday. Gunmen opened fire on worshippers at a Catholic church in the southwestern Ondo state, killing at least 50 people, including women and children, according to hospital doctor and local media sources. And for more, joining me here in the studio for a perspective on what's going on in Nigeria is VOA executive producer for Hausa television program, Haruna Shehu. Haruna, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Esther.
What more is known about these assailants?
This is a very difficult question to answer at the moment. There are so many information going around as to who is responsible for the attack yesterday. Some people were putting the blame on Fulani herders. But that is not surprising because if you look at the trajectory of things in recent times in Nigeria, especially in the southern part of the country, whenever there is an attack, people are very quick to put the blame on Fulani herders. But there are so many things to look into regarding the situation in Ondo State. Owo is the hometown of the state governor. In recent times, it has witnessed a lot of violence, especially political violence. And also recently, the governor of the state has implemented measures to fight drug cartels. And such measures are actually not going well with people who are into drug businesses. So there are so many things going on, people thinking it's kind of too early to put the blame on a particular group at the moment.
And it's a very complex issue here, Haruna, but how are those impacted by yesterday's tragedy being assisted by the state government and the federal government?
Yeah, you're right. Early this morning, the Nigerian Medical Association put out a statement calling on people to assist with blood. This is for people who are hospitalized in the hospital. Now, the government is saying it is going to do everything possible to assist the injured and to even provide relief to families of those who died in the attack yesterday. But I think at the moment, what is more important is to give the kind of necessary medical attention to those that are still in hospital. As I said, just the Medical Association is now calling even on the doctors, to make themselves available, to come and assist, because a lot of hospitals in the area are overwhelmed, particularly the Federal Medical Center and also the church hospital, because the church also has its own hospital. So they are actually overwhelmed and they are looking for volunteers, doctors, blood donors to come out and assist.
Earlier, there were reports that the lead pastor was also taken captive. Do we know his whereabouts? Is he alive? Where is he?
Well, immediately, in fact, that was an information that went viral immediately after the attack. But again, the church put out a statement immediately to say, no, nobody has been kidnapped. All the priests, all the clergymen were accounted for. Nobody has been kidnapped. And also, it's important to point out here, even the church said it's too early to say this is responsible for this attack. Only investigation will now reveal who are responsible for this attack. So at the moment, there's nobody that has been kidnapped during the attack, only those who died and only those, and also the people who got injured.
You know, Haruna, Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa, and there have been so many incidences of violence, from Boko Haram to militants to kidnapping of school children. And the question in a lot of Nigerians is, when is Nigeria going to become safe? How is the government reassuring citizens that their country is safe?
Yeah, I think Nigerians have been pushed to the wall. If you look at the reaction, especially after yesterday's attack, is that people are tired of the rhetorics. Whenever there is an attack, the government will say, okay, this is a heinous act, we condemn it, and we pledge that perpetrators are going to be fished out and punished. But nothing has been happening. The attacks are always happening, as you pointed out, especially in the northern part of the country. All the promises of putting an end to these attacks, nothing is yielding positive results. So there are so many, especially young people. In fact, there was one youth leader whom I saw his video saying to the president that if no one is telling you this, I am telling you this. In 2015, you promised that you are going to provide security for lives and property. In 2019, you said the same thing. But what we are saying is completely different from what you are making, like the promises you are making. So we are tired of this. We're tired of condemning. We're tired of offering prayers. What we need is real action. We really need, people to be free to go about their lives, in places of worship, in their places of businesses. We are tired of I condemned. What we want to see is real action. We want our lives to be protected, lives and property. So this is it.
What does, at the state level, what do the governors say and politicians? I know the election season is coming up soon and everybody is, trying to become a leader here and there. But what do they tell Nigerians about reassuring them of their safety? As you say, there's so many empty promises. The Chibok girls disappeared. Most of them have never come back. And what we heard from the leadership is that I will find them. We will get the girls back. And they still haven't found them. And this is not just the first case. It's a very difficult situation for a lot of people to understand. When is the government saying it will do this, and when does it deliver?
You're right. It's a very complex situation. What the governors at the state level are busy telling people is that, look, soldiers are not under our control. They are under the control of the federal government. So we don't have much to do as far as providing security in our state is concerned. It's the responsibility of the federal government, but what we are doing as governors, we are here to complement. So they're always putting the blame on the federal government.
Haruna, thank you for what you do, the programs you engage, the youth in Nigeria and the community there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Esther.
Haruna Sheikh, who is executive producer for VOA Hausa television program. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, suspected Islamists killed at least 18 people in a village raid east of the country on Sunday night, according to local sources, while fighting resumed with the M23 rebel group in a neighboring province. Fighters believed to be from the Allied Democratic Forces known as ADF killed residents and burned down houses in the village of Otomabere in Irumu region of Ituri province, according to the area chief and a local human rights group. Congolese Army spokesman Jules Gongo confirmed the ADF attack without giving a death toll and said Congolese forces were pursuing the assailants. More than $400 million in tax advances and loans that Democratic Republic of Congo state mining company Geka Mines said it paid to the National Treasury is missing, according to a report by the government's public finances watchdog. State miner Geka Mines holds minority stakes in several of the world's largest copper and cobalt projects, including Glencore, Kamoto Copper Company, and China Molybdenum's Tenke Fungurume mine. Geka Mines has long been dogged by accusations of corruption by non-governmental organizations and opposition politicians. The company has repeatedly denied all allegations of wrongdoing. In May, the U.S. Department of Justice announced that mining giant Glencore is to pay more than $1 billion after bribery investigations.
If it is the regime's intention to apply for extradition for me, I would very much welcome that. Because extradition doesn't happen in a manner whereby they put in the application one day and the next day you're back in the country. There's a legal process that has to...
Well, we'll move on. The company announced it had reached agreements with authorities in the US, UK, and Brazil who are investigating claims of bribery and market manipulation. West African heads of state have postponed imposing further punitive measures against the leaders of Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso as the coup leaders in all three countries continue to insist that it will take years before new elections can be held. At a regional summit over the weekend, leaders of the 15-nation regional bloc known as Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, said they will convene again on July 3rd before determining if further sanctions will be implemented in the three suspended member states. Saturday's meeting marked the regional bloc's latest attempt to pressure military leaders in the three African countries to restore constitutional order and bring about democratic elections. Jean-Claude Cassier-Brou is current president of ECOWAS Commission.
The authority asked the mediator to finalize the negotiation, the discussion with the Malian authorities that will allow the gradual removal of the sanction, the economic and financial sanction that were imposed. So, and also the authority decided that they will really re-examine again this issue, very important point, next month, early next month, in July 3rd, during the ordinary summit. Humanitarian situation is very difficult and complexified by the fact that, of course, we have the impact of the very poor rainy season. We have the impact of the Ukraine-Russian war. We have also, of course, the impact of the many internal displaced persons. Number have really increased.
Mr. Bruce said the coup leaders in each of the three countries have proposed timeframes for a political transition that are substantially longer than what the regional bloc has demanded. The Albinism Association of Nigeria is petitioning the government to resume free cancer treatment for albinos. The free treatment was stopped years ago because of a lack of funding. Experts say people with albinism are more likely to get skin cancer because they have little or no melanin. Timothy Obiezu reports from Abuja.
This rash on Cynthia Ukachi's skin can be deadly.
I have 2 or 3 on my neck. Yes, 3 on my neck. I have 2 at my back. And I just have this on my forehead here. It looks very small, but it's very painful and it can bleed.
Ukachi says sores are malignant skin cells capable of spreading and causing skin cancer that could be fatal. Ukachi says she first noticed the changes on her skin in 2018. She received treatment thanks to a government program that offered free skin cancer care for albinos. But now, she says her condition has returned and the government has ended its free treatment plan.
So noticing this issue again, I already know what it is, but I couldn't go back to the hospital knowing I'll be asked to pay. And the money is what I do not have. If the government wants me to leave, if the government wants persons with albinism to leave, they should reinstate the free cancer treatment.
Authorities started the program in 2007, and the Albinism Association of Nigeria says more than 5,000 patients, including Ukachi, benefited from it before it was discontinued. Jackie Epele is a skin cancer survivor and the group's president.
Even the current administration started a skeletal implementation at the beginning of their tenure, but then reneged. And the reason is simply that poverty of funds and the fact that they cannot continue to offer this treatment. And of course, the effect is that persons with albinism are dying in droves.
Medical experts say albinos are 1,000 times more likely than the general population to develop skin cancer due to the partial or complete absence of melanin, a pigment responsible for eye, hair, and skin color. In Nigeria, myths and discrimination associated with albinism make it far more difficult for those with the disorder to get jobs and afford skin cancer treatment. In May, the Albinism Association renewed its call for the government to reinstate the free skin cancer treatment. Nigerian authorities responded.
With the permanent secretary,
we had discussion with the permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry for Health for us to be able to revisit this. We're going to provide some funding support to do that. Additionally, by next year, we're going to provide proper budgetary allocation that will support this cancer treatment for our people.
The Albinism Association cautions there is no time to lose, as free treatment is the only lifeline for persons around the country like Ukachi, who fears she will run out of time. Timothy Obiezu for VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
The Botswana government wants former President Ian Khama to be extradited to face trial for illegal possession of firearms. Khama left the country last October saying he feared for his life. From exile in South Africa, he says he looks forward to answering the allegations. Speaking to VOA, Khama says he welcomes extradition so he can present his side of the story.
Her death was very painful. It was unexpected, and not being able to go there and grieve with her, other members of the family and friends was also very painful. But that was also the intention of the regime, because they made it known to us, and they wouldn't have done it publicly, of course, but we have our sources, but they wanted it leaked to us that had we come back, there would have been consequences, which we all know what those would have been.
Ian Khama fell out with his hand-picked successor, President Mokgweetsi Masisi, soon after the transfer of power in 2018. And here's a roundup of news you might have missed. Tanzania on Sunday reversed its decision to lift a controversial ban on wildlife exports a day after the move triggered an uproar in the East African nation. The ban imposed in 2016 was in place to safeguard the country's protected wildlife and birds who were illegally being shipped abroad. Ethiopia has called for tighter controls on aid shipments to the country's war-torn Tigray region as it accused aid agencies of delivering banned equipment that could be used by rebels and more fuel than is currently allowed. And in Algeria, the jailed brother of the late President Abdelaziz Bouteflika received an 8-year prison sentence on Monday for corruption, according to local media. Let us know what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, Kenya's electoral body clears top presidential contenders, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and current Deputy President William Ruto for the August 9th election. We'll be back.
Empowerment and humanity towards a better world.
Economic and social progress of every society.
Facts and information from key players rather than spectators in politics, business, science and technology.
City, rural, educated, or underprivileged. We care and we listen to what matters to you.
Your voices are our voices.
Kenya's Electoral Commission, IEBC, has cleared Mr. Raila Odinga, who served as Prime Minister from 2008 to 2013, to run in the upcoming presidential election set to take place on August 9th. With former Minister for Justice Martha Karua as his running mate, Odinga is seen as an early front-runner in the race for Kenya's top post. The Electoral Board on Saturday also cleared current Deputy President William Ruto to run for the country's top seat in the August election. Ruto has picked politician and businessman Rigathi Gachagua as running mate. Considered an early front-runner, Ruto used the occasion to criticize what he believes to be unfair treatment from Kenya's media. The rising cost of fuel in Kenya is not only affecting motorists but also tens of thousands of fishermen whose incomes depend on their boats. To reduce fuel needs, a Dutch company, Asobo, has been renting electric motors for boats on Kenya's side of Lake Victoria and says it cannot keep up with the demand. Juma Majanga reports from Rusinga Island, Kenya.
It's a new day at Nyagina Beach on Rusinga Island, and Simon Okeyo and two of his sons are installing an electric-powered motor on their boat, a first for the 69-year-old fisherman.
This one is smokeless. It is smooth and silent. The gasoline-powered engine is very shaky when speeding, and that shakiness can easily damage the fish. But this one doesn't shake, even when speeding, so your fish load cannot be damaged.
At least 30,000 fishing boats ply Lake Victoria every day, half of these on the Kenyan side, with nearly all powered by fuel combustion engines that use at least 20 liters of gasoline on every fishing trip. This leads to a lot of environmental pollution.
When we look at the use of petrol and in the view of global warming, that is a lot of greenhouse emission being emitted into the atmosphere.
Dutch green startup Asobo has developed a technology that replaces combustion engines with electric motors. The motors are powered by batteries that are charged and rented out together with the motors at a fee that is 25% cheaper than using gasoline. The batteries are equipped with a GPS tracking system for ease of location in case of emergency.
We have a full service model, which means that we charge the batteries. When the drive is out of order, we service it ourselves. And the fisherman's work is just to go and get his fish.
Pollution is one of the reasons blamed for the declining fish population in Lake Victoria. And the rising cost of fuel has made a tough economic situation for fishers even worse.
Petrol prices, as I'm sure you're aware, have really gone through the roof. So what we're trying to do is to alleviate some of that pressure so that, the fishermen have, at the end of the day, extra money in their pocket.
And that's welcomed by fishers who use electric motors.
When the fuel prices were rising, us who use electric drives were not affected.
As demand for electric motors increases, Asobo says it remains focused on its expansion plans.
We are targeting 100 boats in Kenya this year. Next year, we should be having 500 boats.
While electric mobility is a new concept here, fishermen like Simon Okeyo hope the new technology brings with it good fortune, at least for the next generation, if not his. Juma Majanga, VOA News, Rusinga Island, Kenya.
South African government has extended its temporary fuel levy suspension for another 2 months, much to the relief of struggling citizens. With fuel prices already at a record high, many people in South Africa are buckling under pressure of being able to put food on the table. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has pushed up international oil prices, adding a ripple effect on the cost of living. The government says it will extend the relief over the next 2 months, but warned that the measure is not sustainable. Lobby groups are pleading with the government to review fuel taxes and find a more sustainable long-term solution. The relief was funded through the sale of strategic oil stocks in April and May. The UN's International Labour Organization has started reviving abandoned buildings in Zimbabwe, a move informal traders say is helping them earn a living. Columbus Mavunga reports from Zimbabwe's second biggest city, Bulawayo, where the labor agency says Southern Africa must start reviving informal trading.
Tinagomo is one of the thousands of Zimbabwe's. The UN International Labour Organization says it is helping by setting up safe workplaces. He lost his job at a diamond company about 10 years ago. To make ends meet, he set up a workplace in the open here in Zimbabwe's industrial hub of Bulawayo, an area the labour agency has worked to revive.
It's actually better here because the place is closed up, unlike where we were before. It was on an open space. You could not work when it's raining. Even the heat conditions there, it could be difficult. But here it's quite comfortable.
The ILO says it is targeting youth and about 100 entrepreneurs working in the informal sector.
What we want to do, especially in the informal economy, is to promote the formalization of the informal economy. When you talk about the formalization of the informal economy, it comes with different facets. Number one, there is the improvement of workspaces. Like, for example, this one you have just seen at Bulawayo SME Center, where we want to address decent work deficits.
Depending on who is speaking, unemployment figures vary from 30% to 95%. The Zimbabwe authorities say the program will boost the country's economy by bringing in more people who pay taxes.
The engagement that we are doing as a city with the informal sector is for them to appreciate the need for registration so that they are counted in the GDP of the country overall.
With many informal workers not paying taxes, by setting up formal structures, advocates say more people can contribute to the nation's economy and have a safer place to work and earn a living for themselves. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Bulawayo, Zimbabwe.
And that's our show for today. We invite you to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.